My name is Willa Thorne. I'm 22, a graduate of a top-tier university. I also have a severe allergy to foolishness, which makes small talk and office politics my personal nightmare. Socializing? Not on my agenda. Because of this, I've happily adopted the lifestyle of a professional mooch, living comfortably off my parents' wealth. My mother, Vivian Shaw, a constant presence on the Forbes rich list, finally decided she'd had enough of me. Her solution? She shoved me onto the set of a corporate reality TV show, claiming it would teach me some real-world skills and correct my supposed attitude problem. So there I was, flip-flops on my feet, standing outside the designated office building for the show. A girl in a poofy white dress was blocking the entrance turnstile, completely absorbed in her own little performance. Behind her, a growing crowd of employees waited silently, ticking away precious minutes before being officially late. I tried to politely nudge her. She screamed at me. "So, what if I'm in a way?" she demanded, hands on hips. "My dad owns this company, Aura Corp. I can stand wherever I want."
Wait, what?
"My dad has an illegitimate daughter?" I immediately texted my mother. "Your Majesty, I think Dad has a secret daughter. Prepare for war." The girl had turned badge tapping into a sport. She'd scan, the turnstile would open. She wouldn't move, it would close, and then she'd scan again. On and on. Around her, the employees' faces were pale with frustration, their eyes screaming, "Time is money." My blood pressure spiked. I inhaled deeply, muttered, "World peace" 3 times under my breath, and tapped her shoulder. "Excuse me, could you step through? Everyone's going to be late." She gave me a haughty glance. "Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am?" I clenched my fists. "Who you are doesn't matter. Blocking the way does." Her answer was identical to before. "Dad owns the company. I can do whatever I want." My mind spun. My father? Another daughter? My mother, the queen of our household, was under threat? Was my own title as crown princess in jeopardy? A timid intern wearing glasses tugged on my sleeve. "Just leave it," she whispered. "That's Mimi Monroe. Her dad is Mr. Thorne, the show's main sponsor. He's funding the whole season just to make her famous." Mimi's privileged status became clear. Just then, a sharp, impeccably dressed woman arrived, Ms. Hayes, my father's executive secretary. "Miss Monroe, Mr. Thorne is waiting for you in his office." Mimi's arrogance swelled as she pointed at me. "Ms. Hayes, this person was bullying me." Ms. Hayes turned on me instantly. "Which department are you with? Your name? Harassing Miss Monroe on your first day? Trying to get yourself fired. Interesting." A woman who'd known me for years now treated me like a stranger. I smiled politely. "I'm Willa Thorne, an intern on the show. I wasn't harassing anyone, just pointing out basic etiquette." Mimi pouted. "Etiquette? I am etiquette. Fire her." Ms. Hayes hesitated, glancing at the cameras. "It's live, Miss Monroe. Let's go inside first." Mimi finally relented, flanked by her obedient secretary. The employees surged forward. The glasses-wearing intern whispered, "You just made an enemy of the princess and her top courtier." I shrugged. "In for it?" The show was just getting started. I texted my mother. "Mom, major family drama. Your marital status and my inheritance are at stake." Vivian's reply was immediate. "Explain, or your allowance is halved." I summarized the Mimi Monroe situation. After a long pause, she texted, "Hold your position. Observe. Report new developments. Remember, you're the legitimate heir. Act like it." "Legitimate heir," I muttered, smiling. "Very well. Let's see who dares challenge my mother." Inside, the show's director gave interns a quick briefing and assigned roles. I was sent to marketing. Mimi? She stayed in the chairman's office with her daddy. My mentor, a kind woman, guided me through the office. Passing the chairman's office, I saw Mimi lounging, legs crossed, commanding Ms. Hayes to peel an apple for her. Ms. Hayes obeyed with patient precision, as if caring for a child rather than a spoiled heiress. I scoffed internally. A tall, handsome man carrying files walked past. Mimi's eyes lit up like a predator spotting prey. "Hey, handsome." "Stop." The man paused politely. "Miss Monroe, can I help you? What's your name? Which department? Do you have a girlfriend?" She fired off, practically drooling. His jaw twitched. "I'm Leo, tech department. I'd rather not discuss my personal life."
Leo?
"My cousin. My mother had planted him in my father's company to keep tabs."
Perfect.
Mimi ignored professional boundaries, reaching for him. I stepped in, pulling Leo behind me. Miss Monroe, workplace harassment is illegal. She screamed, furious. Willa, do you want me to have my dad fire you? I'm sure he could, I said sweetly. But maybe check the laws first. It's not just me who could get in trouble. It could be you. Her tantrum ended as Ms. Hayes dragged her away, shooting me a death glare. Leo exhaled in relief. Thanks, Wills. No problem. Send me the security footage, I said. Evidence for later. He nodded, understanding immediately. The glasses wearing in turn returned, eyes sparkling. You're brave. First person I've seen stand up to Mimi Monroe. I just smiled. That was nothing. Just the appetizer. I scoured the internet for any information on Mimi and her mother. Nothing. They seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Switching tactics, I researched my father, Marcus Thorne. 3 years ago, after a fallout with my mother, he'd staged a midlife rebellion, leaving only Aura Corp under his control. He'd rebuilt the company, but I never imagined he'd stash away a mistress and a daughter along the way. The next morning, the office saw an unexpected arrival. Chloe, my childhood best friend, strutted into marketing in 4-inch heels, her new title proudly displayed, Sales Director. I nearly dropped my jaw. In the conference room, she ran a meeting with calm authority, her logic razor-sharp, her presence commanding. This was a far cry from the Chloe I remembered, the one who used to drink too much and cry on my shoulder. Afterward, I pulled her into the break room. What's going on? Did Aunt Vivian send you here? I asked. Chloe rolled her eyes and touched up her lipstick, a bold, limited edition shade that matched her aura of confidence. What do you mean, sent me? I didn't need anyone to get this job. Aura Corp pays well. I earned it myself. I nodded appreciatively. Nice lipstick. Of course, she said with a flourish. It wasn't easy getting my hands on it. Our conversation was cut short by a familiar, obnoxious voice. Hey, that lipstick. I want it, Mimi. She had crept up behind us, eyes locked greedily on Chloe's lipstick. Chloe frowned and stashed it back in her bag. Sorry, this isn't for sale. I don't care. I saw it. So it's mine. Mimi snapped, trying to grab Chloe's purse. That was it. Bully me?
Fine.
Bully my best friend? Not a chance. I grabbed Mimi's wrist, squeezing until she yelped. Mimi, show some respect, I said, voice icy. You're protecting someone else again? What's wrong with you? She shrieked. You're the problem, I said, shoving her hand away and positioning Chloe behind me. If you want something, buy it yourself. Theft isn't impressive. Oh, and judging by your reaction, you probably wouldn't even recognize the brand. Her face flushed. She stammered incoherently. A small crowd of coworkers had gathered, watching with wide eyes. Humiliated, Mimi lunged for Chloe's bag, toppling it. The lipstick rolled across the floor. She grabbed it, twisted it open, and smeared a thick line across the back of her hand before tossing it aside. If I can't have it, no one can, she growled. Chloe's eyes welled with tears. This wasn't just a lipstick, it was her reward for hard work. Rage surged through me. I approached slowly, raised my hand, and delivered a clean slap across her cheek. The room went silent. That, I said lowly, was to teach you manners. Apologize. Mimi stared in shock. You hit me? So what? I stepped closer. Apologize to my friend. She collapsed to the floor, wailing. She hit me.
Dad.
Call my mom. She's going to fire her. Ms. Hayes and security rushed in. What happened? Ms. Hayes' face drained when she saw the red mark. Willa, assaulting someone? Security, detain her. Chloe stepped forward calmly. Ms. Hayes, this started when Miss Monroe tried to steal and destroy my property. Willa was protecting me. There are cameras and witnesses. Ms. Hayes hesitated. Mimi continued her theatrics, clinging to her arm and sobbing.
Fine.
The little one couldn't win, so she called in the big guns. Within 10 minutes, a woman in a Chanel suit stormed in, flanked by her entourage. Melanie Monroe, Mimi's mother, had arrived. She rushed to her daughter, horror on her face at the red mark.
Who did this to you?
Who dares? Mimi pointed at me, tears streaking her cheeks.
Mom.
Willa. She hit me because she's jealous. Melanie turned her sharp gaze on me, every inch the commanding matriarch. Yes, I hit her, I said calmly. She tried to steal my friend's property and destroy it. Manners clearly escaped her. Melanie laughed coldly. Such a bold little thing. You dare lecture my daughter? This isn't over. You will kneel and apologize, then leave Aura Corp. I fought back laughter.
Kneel?
On whose authority? She slammed a small red booklet onto the table. On this. I am Marcus Thorne's legal wife, chairman's wife of Aura Corp. Now obey. Gasps rippled through the room. The rumors were true. Mr. Thorne had remarried. Colleagues' expressions shifted from sympathy to schadenfreude, and in turn had offended the future chairman's wife and her daughter. She was doomed. Ms. Hayes stepped forward, disappointment etched on her face. Willa apologized to Mrs. Thorne and Miss Monroe immediately. I could barely contain my laughter. Legal wife. My mother and Marcus had never finalized their divorce. Bigamy was illegal. I pulled out my phone and filmed the certificate. Mrs. Monroe, is this really a marriage certificate? Perhaps the public should decide if your claims are legitimate. Melanie's color drained. Nonsense. Marcus and that old wife are done. We're truly in love. I scoffed. Truly in love? So in love you forged documents? Bigamy and forgery are crimes. She sputtered. You're slandering me. Easy to check with the county records, or just ask Marcus himself, I said. Just then, a deep, familiar voice rang from the doorway. What's all this shouting? What's happening? Marcus Thorne, my absent father of 3 years, had finally made his dramatic return. Marcus showed up dressed like he was heading to a board meeting, his suit crisp, his hair arranged with the kind of care that comes from trying too hard. Even so, the panic flickering in his eyes betrayed everything he wanted to project. The second Melanie spotted him, she launched herself toward him as if salvation had arrived. Marcus, thank goodness. You need to help us. This new intern hit our daughter, and now she's saying our marriage certificate is fake. You have to defend us. Marcus looked at me, his eyes full of conflict. He opened his mouth, closed it again, then straightened his shoulders and snapped. Willa, what is wrong with you? Apologize to Mrs. Monroe and Mimi this instant. Mrs. Monroe. My stomach dropped. So he was really going to pretend. He would even deny his own child. The employees nearby began whispering. She has the same last name as the chairman. Are they related? If they were close, he wouldn't be calling that woman Mrs. She must be some broke relative trying to cling to the family. She's done for. The chairman's wife and real daughter are right here. There's no way she can win this. Mimi and Melanie shared smug little smiles. I looked Marcus dead in the eye, my voice steady and ice cold. You're absolutely sure you want me to apologize to them? He refused to meet my gaze. If you make a mistake, you apologize. That is how things work. All right, I said with a slow nod. If we are following rules today, then let's follow the real ones. I pulled out my phone. Mom, bring the heavy artillery. Aura Corp has visitors. Less than 5 minutes later, chaos broke out in the lobby. Then she appeared. A woman in a black trench coat marched through security, like she owned the place. She carried a gleaming metal baseball bat in one hand, swinging it lightly as if she were warming up for practice. My mother, Vivian Shaw. The entire office froze. Vivian slid off her sunglasses, revealing a breathtaking face sharpened by intelligence. Her gaze swept the room, then locked onto Marcus with surgical precision. Marcus, she said quietly, her red lips barely moving. The softness of her tone only made it more terrifying. You have grown bold. Marcus, who had been acting high and mighty moments earlier, shrank in on himself. His complexion went ghost white, and his knees wobbled. Vivian, why are you here? He looked like a dog caught stealing food. The crowd was stunned, including Melanie and Mimi, who looked like their souls had left their bodies. Vivian walked straight toward Melanie, each step deliberate. She was much taller, and when she looked down at the woman, it was with the disinterest one usually reserved for a pest. So, Vivian said, you must be the mistress. Melanie flinched and stumbled back. Who are you? She whispered. Vivian smiled, cool and sharp. She lifted her bat and tapped the counterfeit certificate on the table. I'm the original wife. The one you called a washed-up old hag. The office erupted in gasps. Original wife. This towering, gorgeous force of nature was the chairman's real wife. Melanie went pale as paper, unable to speak. Vivian shifted her attention to Marcus, then pointed the bat at Mimi. And this one? Is she the child you supposedly had with the nanny? Marcus nearly choked. He flapped his hands in a panic. No, absolutely not. Vivian, let me explain. She isn't my daughter, she's Melanie's. Mimi froze. Dad, what are you talking about? I am your daughter. Quiet, Marcus hissed at her, before turning desperately to Vivian. Vivian, I swear, I didn't sleep with her. When I was starting the company 3 years ago, I couldn't sleep from stress, and she spiked my drink with sleeping pills. The next day, she told me we were intimate, and she said she would tell you everything. I panicked. I didn't want you to think I betrayed you. So, The office fell into stunned silence. So this wasn't a cliché cheating scandal. It was a ridiculous story about a CEO being drugged and blackmailed by a conniving woman. I pressed a hand over my eyes, embarrassed on his behalf. Vivian looked equally horrified by his stupidity. She took a long breath and jabbed a finger at him. Marcus Thorne, are you actually brainless? She said you slept together, and you just accepted it. You are useless, even unconscious. Did you vanish for 3 years just to perform your own comedy show? Marcus wilted, staring at the floor. I felt sorry for her. She was a single mother. Sorry for her, Vivian repeated, incredulous. You should be apologizing to me. I cannot believe I married a man this foolish. She dismissed him entirely and turned her attention to Melanie and Ms. Hayes, both of whom were trembling. Now that you have finished your little performance, she said, her voice calm and lethal, let us settle our accounts. Once Vivian Shaw took control of the room, everyone else seemed to fade into the background. Her lawyer, Mr. King, stepped forward and placed a thick file in front of Melanie. Ms. Monroe, here is a copy of Mimi's birth certificate and registration. She has no biological link to Marcus Thorne. Melanie's face went pale as the proof sank in. Then Mr. King produced another folder. As for the so-called marriage certificate, the authorities have already been contacted. Forging government documents carries a maximum prison sentence of 10 years. No, please. Melanie collapsed, clutching Marcus's leg. Marcus, save me. I only did this out of love. Marcus recoiled in horror and shoved her aside. Vivian didn't even glance at the pitiful display. Her eyes locked on Ms. Hayes, who had been attempting to shrink into the walls. Ms. Hayes, Vivian said softly, but the tone made the secretary flinch. I placed you beside Marcus to monitor him. Is this what you call watching someone? Ms. Hayes turned ghostly white and forced a shaky smile. And Mrs. Shaw, I was deceived too. I didn't know. Deceived? Vivian raised an eyebrow. Is that so? Her other lawyer, Ms. Lee, opened a laptop and turned it to the crowd. Security footage appeared. It showed Ms. Hayes and Melanie meeting at a cafe. Hayes handed Melanie a small bottle of pills while whispering instructions. Next, screenshots of bank transfers appeared, dozens of them, from Melanie's account to Hayes's personal account, ranging from thousands to hundreds of thousands. Ms. Hayes, Vivian's voice froze the room. For 3 years, you conspired with Melanie Monroe. One supplied the drugs, the other spread lies. Together, you defrauded Marcus Thorne of over $37 million. You will repay every cent. And, Vivian continued, her gaze sharp as ice, as a senior executive, you knowingly broke the law, leaked corporate secrets, and aided an outsider in harming the company. That is embezzlement. Mr. King, Ms. Lee, the rest is yours. Yes, Mrs. Shaw, they responded in unison. Ms. Hayes crumpled, slumping to the floor, her carefully laid plans shredded in minutes. She had assumed Vivian was unreachable and that Marcus could be manipulated indefinitely. The truth was finally out, and the aftermath was swift. Police arrived, taking Melanie away in a stunned daze. Ms. Hayes babbled as she was led out. Mimi, too, was placed in social services care pending further proceedings. The corporate drama that had threatened the dynasty ended brutally, efficiently, and without mercy. Employees hovered silently, pretending to vanish. The camera crew wisely powered down, not daring to capture Vivian in action. Vivian treated the whole affair like a minor inconvenience. She handed her baseball bat to a bodyguard and walked over to me, smoothing my slightly tousled hair. Well done, she said, her voice carrying a rare warmth. You have my instincts. I pursed my lips. Your intelligence network did most of the work. You led me there, she replied, patting my shoulder. Putting you in the field was clearly the right decision. Her gaze shifted to Marcus, standing stiff as a schoolboy awaiting punishment. You, she said, pointing a finger, are coming home with me. Marcus winced. Vivian, I was wrong, please, one more chance. We'll discuss it at home, Vivian said, her tone final. Then she looked at me. This place is a disaster. Clean it up.
Me?
I thought. You've got to be kidding. Before I could argue, Vivian turned on her heel like a conquering queen, leaving me in charge of the aftermath. All eyes in the office turned toward me. Curiosity, admiration, speculation in equal measure. The girl with glasses who had tipped me off earlier stared wide-eyed, clearly thinking, I've been working with a princess in disguise. Chloe nudged me with an elbow, a mischievous grin on her face. Well, Miss Thorne, that was quite the secret. I sighed. My allergy to stupidity had never been more challenged.
No, wait.
It wasn't just challenged, it was escalating. Because I just realized the biggest fool in the world was probably my father, utterly and hopelessly under my mother's control. The following morning, I officially began my new role. My title, Special Assistant to the Chairman, reporting directly to the top. And yes, the chairman in name was still Marcus Thorne. However, according to my inside man, Leo, Marcus had spent the entire night kneeling on a washboard in Vivian's study. By morning, Aura Corp's ownership structure had changed completely. Vivian Shaw, with a controlling majority of shares, was now the real power behind the company. Marcus Thorne had gone from chairman to glorified senior staff, with zero authority. My first task was to coordinate with the legal team to clean up the mess left by Melanie, Ms. Hayes, and Mimi. We recovered embezzled funds, filed lawsuits, and terminated anyone involved in the scheme. My efficiency quickly earned me a new reputation around the office. I was no longer the nepotism hire, but the formidable crown princess. Chloe, now sales director, wasted no time either. She restructured her department and secured several major contracts, firmly establishing herself as a powerhouse. As for the reality show, Dream Job Express, the scandal didn't sink it. It turned it into a viral sensation. Overnight, the format was rebranded from a corporate competition to lifestyles of the rich and annoying, the Heiress's makeover, with me as the undeniable star. Cameras followed me constantly, documenting me leading meetings, processing reports, and schooling my hapless father. Who wrote this proposal? The reasoning is flawed, and the data is fabricated. Fix it. I slammed a file onto Marcus's desk. Marcus flinched. Willa, dear, Uncle Wayne's team stayed up all night on this. Stayed up all night? That doesn't excuse producing garbage and misleading investors. Dad, Mom put you in charge to run this company, not to let incompetence slide. Aura Corp does not tolerate slackers or fools. Marcus turned bright red, but didn't argue. He meekly grabbed the file and shuffled away. The scene was broadcast live. By the end of the day, hashtags like #world's most miserable CEO and #hardcore Heiress school's dad were trending nationwide. The public reaction was entirely in my favor. LOL, this daughter is savage. Love her. Now I know why the CEO is terrified of his wife. It's genetic. I could watch this father-daughter showdown for 100 episodes. Scrolling through the comments, I shook my head. I wasn't participating in a corporate reality show. I was here to oversee my mother's empire and re-educate my father. That evening, I received a call from Vivian. Well done. The stock rose 5 points today, she said, a trace of pride in her voice. Don't flatter me, it'll go straight to my head, I replied. I'm doubling your allowance, she added. Thank you, boss. You're the best, I said, dripping with exaggerated respect. I could hear Marcus whining in the background. Vivian, I put the washboard away, can I sleep in the bed tonight? Vivian's voice immediately cut through, cold as ice. Back to the study. And then she hung up. I set down my phone and gazed at the sparkling city lights. Suddenly, my allergy to stupidity didn't seem like such a curse. At the very least, it kept me sharp and ready in a world full of idiots. After all, protecting my mother's empire and securing my inheritance was a full-time battle.